Welcome to Keep What You Earn, your judgment and jargon-free zone for entrepreneurs of all levels. Get ready to learn how to scale your business, save money in taxes, and create a business that grows your wealth. If it feels like the financial side of business is like eating your vegetables, well then think of this podcast as the ranch dressing to make the process a little more enjoyable. My name is Shannon Weinstein. I'm a CPA and business owner on a mission to simplify money and empower others through knowledge. I hope this episode inspires you to take action, but remember that the information we share is for educational purposes only and is not individual tax advice. Now that we got that out of the way, let's start the show. You would not believe how often I get this question. It's pretty funny, actually. And that question is, so how do I break up with my accountant? Like after every client hires me, they ask me, okay, so how do I tell my other accountant that I'm ending? So there's a couple of things, right? Ideally, the accountant has an engagement letter with a term on it. So they're like an annual contract, right? So you can see when your contract is up. Now, a lot of accountants don't do this. They have kind of this like an implicit renewal. So meaning it's always going to constantly renew or you're going to constantly work with them. It's like this contract in perpetuity with no term. Now, I'm not a fan of those personally because I like to have an opportunity to hit a reset button, revisit pricing, revisit scope, and revisit the renewal to make sure the relationship is still great and we get feedback and all that stuff. I like that process. Not everyone does that. So if you don't have a clear contract cycle to give that feedback and to be able to actually cancel the service, then what do? So my recommendation is number one, don't make it a bigger deal than it has to be, because what ends up happening is you mull over it, you create this long ass email, and then you're like, okay, I gotta say this, and I gotta say this, and I gotta say how much I love them. It's like, no, you don't. You really don't. I mean, we appreciate some words of affirmation, don't get me wrong. But I think all you really have to do is say, hey, I decided my taxes done by someone else this year. Thank you so much for your help these past few, whatever, months, years, and so on, right? What you want to do is make it as clear as possible that you're planning to terminate. You want to factor in the timing of this email or this communication. Number one, you want to make sure if you need to make it in writing and has to go to a certain place or person, make sure you're following the contract. So make sure you understand how to terminate based on your contract. Number two, if you're writing this email, just make sure they get it. Follow up if you need to. And you want to make sure you're asking them if there's anything outstanding. Ask them if there's any work outstanding. Ask them if there's anything needed from you in order to ensure a smooth transition. Also, ask them about their availability for a transition. So if they have been serving your business, for example, in tax strategy, then ask them what the ongoing support will look like, or ask them what the communication protocols are now that you're a former client. Hopefully, they'll still work with you and be accommodating, but you never know. So you want to make sure you understand the expectations and that you're clear on that. Now, what you may want to consider is the timing of this communication, right? So I would not break up with your accountant, let's say, after they've prepared your taxes, but they haven't filed them yet. I would wait until they've completed their scope of work. I would wait until you have a clear opportunity where you're not waiting on anything from them and there's nothing huge that's kind of pending. I would make sure that you've got a clear path forward in terms of, okay, this is a good time to transition because all the work they did was done. So it's a clean transition. If we pick up something, for example, in the middle of a project, in the middle of tax season, and the tax return's halfway done, like we have to do even more work to piece together what the hell happened before. So I would avoid that at all costs, unless there's some type of emergency. You don't have to cite any reason, by the way, that you're going to fire your accountant. I follow the same kind of rhythm when I look at letting a client go. And that is like, begin with the end in mind, as my mentor would say. So begin with the end in mind. So what do you want? You want to end this contract as amicably as possible with minimal conflict, right? Well, how do we do that? We just keep it short and to the point, and we don't have to say all the reasons. We don't have to express dissatisfaction or anything. I think a really solid business owner, including an accountant, should ask for feedback. And if they don't, then, you can give it on public forums if it's really that bad or that good. But I would say just moving on is the best option, especially if this is someone that's like a family friend or someone you've known for a long time and that's been helping you. The other thing is you don't really need an excuse to change your accountant. If you're like, I just want to go in this direction, that's totally fine. You owe them no explanation at all. Most of the time, you're making it a bigger deal than it is. Most of the time, actually, the client is like, oh, okay, cool. That's one less client I have to worry about. And that sounds so funny, but truth be told, a lot of accountants are dealing in volume. So they may have dozens, if not hundreds, maybe even thousands of clients. So at a certain point, they go, okay, and they move on and they get a new client. It's okay. They're not hanging on you as one of their 5 clients most of the time, like I said. So you can break up with your accountant really thoughtfully. Now, if you are a client who works with let's say a tax strategist or a CFO, and you really are one of 5 clients, like you have a high touch service, you want to give them as much notice as possible. And you want to tell them, that you're looking at going in a different direction, or you're looking at potentially just reducing the scope or eliminating the service. Make that a conversation. Have that live if possible, if you're comfortable. I would say most of the time firing a tax professional or breaking up with your tax professional is really okay via email. You just got to make sure that you have the right timing, everything's lined up, and that you're ready to hit send on that and you're not waiting for anything. I'll use the example of an actual breakup, right? Make sure you get the CDs out of the guy's house before you break up with him, right? Like make sure you don't have to go back for anything. The transition can be a little bit rocky and hard to get in touch with the pro. So just make sure you've got everything you need before you actually hit that button, and then you should be good to go. So it's really not that stressful, I hope, to be able to quote unquote break up with an accountant. I think that you need to be level-headed. You need to be matter of fact, very business oriented and direct, honestly. And if there is something that you want to get off your chest, I would say, go back to that question, begin with the end in mind. And what does that mean to you? Does that mean that you have to air out every reason why you're letting them go? I don't think so. I think you have to keep it productive. I also think that if they do ask for feedback, you be honest, but you wait for them to solicit it. That's just my opinion. And the more that you can show flexibility and say, okay, well, is there anything needed from me? Well, how can I ensure a smooth transition? If you make an effort, that goes a long way as well. So if you are thinking about transitioning your accountant this tax season, if you're just kind of going, my guy's too conservative, I just don't click with my accountant, I don't look forward to these meetings, I meet with them once a year, I need more support, then absolutely look for that support. You have no obligation to stick with the same person. And in fact, a fresh perspective is great. And I think even telling your accountant, hey, I'm thinking of hiring another person to take a fresh look at my books or a fresh look at my tax return. If they don't have a massive ego, which a lot of them do actually, but if they don't have a massive ego, then they should be completely open to you having that type of conversation and to add value and ensure your success. That's what it's all about at the end of the day. If you are thinking about that and you want to expand into more of a year-round service, consider our team. We do offer tax strategy and CFO services delivered from me and my team. And we would love to have more clients on board like you who can think year round, have that person in their pocket they can call, and that we can support on an ongoing basis for a long-term relationship, not just a April 15th one-night stand, as I put it. So if this tax season you're getting a little frustrated, don't hesitate to reach out. Head to fitfinancialsolutions.com, learn more about our services, and feel free to click the link in the show notes. I'll see you on the next episode. If you're an entrepreneur who's just starting out, it can be overwhelming to think about all the responsibilities you have when it comes to financial management and taxes. Even if you've been binging this podcast, implementing all of it can be really stressful if you don't have a clear list of action steps and know exactly what you should be doing right now. Luckily, we organized all of this for you in the Business Financial Quick Starter. This is your one-stop shop for beginning steps of entrepreneurship so you can build your business confidently from day one. This is not me teaching accounting, no way. It's a specific set of essential action steps to save you a lot of time, money, and headaches as you embark on your own entrepreneurship journey. We cover everything from setting up your business bank account all the way through avoiding a surprise tax bill. Now, as a podcast listener, you get 10% off with code KEEPWHATYOUEARN, all one word. So dive in now and access your Business Financial Quick Starter. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a rating and review on your podcast platform. This small action goes a long way for podcasters to get our message heard by more business owners just like you. Be sure to check out the show notes for links to information about our guests and ways to get in touch with me. We'll see you on the next episode.